The playwright and Nobel Prize winner George Bernard Shaw once said this: "There is no sincerer love than the love of food." And if the existence of Food Network and Gordon Ramsay have taught me anything, it's that he's right. But among the myriad of menu items, there is one source of nourishment that stands above the rest. A testament to the beauty and the simple things in life. Proof there truly are still good things in this world that can bring us together regardless of background. Mac and cheese, I'm talking about mac and cheese. Now, if you're an American, I'm sure that you would agree that mac and cheese has become something of an American staple. It's the ultimate comfort food. But still, it seems that no one can agree on what makes macaroni and cheese good. Or even what makes macaroni and cheese, macaroni and cheese.
You know what? See, this is that mess I be talking about.
Some recipes are not supposed to be altered.
She literally poured cooked macaroni into a pot and put shredded cheese on top without an ounce of seasoning. What?
I am making baked macaroni and cheese with a major twist.
And what's the twist?
Breast milk.
Yeah. Why are Americans so obsessed with this dish composed of bits of grain and dairy products? What leads to people having so much passion, so much love for it? That's what I wanted to find out. I wanted to know the origin of people's passion. I wanted to hear about people's experiences with the dish. I wanted the stories of mac and cheese. So it might be helpful if you knew how this all started. Recently, I've decided that I want to get involved with the digital media and film industry for a living. As a result, I decided I need to get my feet wet and actually make content. Which is a good thing, especially since when potential employers come around, I don't want them to Google my name and only come across, "But yeah, decides to be snarky and all that crap."
Are you using crap words now? How old are you? You can't use that word.
I'm turning 16 this year.
Not old enough to use the C word. That's just a little C word. I don't even want to imagine what audacity would allow you to use the other C word.
My godfather, everybody. Anyway, okay, so how did you get into comics?
And draw.
I'm 20 now. Luckily, the world handed me some inspiration. One day, my mom got a text from a family friend of ours. He told her about a monstrosity his mother made named Greek mac and cheese, which said family friend, Greg, can sum up for you.
Okay.
Greg, you know
Yes.
why I'm here.
I do, yes.
Yeah, you know what your role is in this, kind of.
Yeah, I was actually trying to think about that. I'm like, so how did this start again?
It's because of, I believe, your mother.
Yes, and well, I won't go into details to protect the guilty. But yes, so, and I'm trying to think. So should I just talk about how? I'm trying to think. I think it started with a conversation with me and your mom.
Yeah,
right.
I think so.
So, yeah, we have a tendency to talk about like, I think food for one, but then also like how different families and stuff will take different takes on certain foods and what counts as legit or not and that sort of thing. So, so I think that's sort of like where this all fell into it. It was kind of like, how, well, white people do crazy things and put raisins in potato salad and things like that and freak out your mom and all that sort of stuff. So sort of conversations like that. But it started with a party where there was a macaroni and cheese that was a, quote, Greek macaroni and cheese. And I was like, what is that? And so lo and behold, it had like Greek olives in it. And it was supposed to have feta cheese on top. So, and I thought that your mom needs to hear about this. So talk to your mom, and she was equally freaked out about it.
After that, my mom sent the idea to me and I figured, hey, I live in a foodie city. That's a great idea. And the rest is history. Hey, speaking of history, where and when did macaroni and cheese originate anyway? That is harder to answer than you'd think, because we already have to start asking that question I mentioned earlier. What counts as macaroni and cheese? Well, the first recorded instance of a pasta dish with cheese comes to us through the 13th century Italian cookbook called, oh god help me, Liber de Cucina, which Google Translate tells me means free from the kitchen, but everywhere else says it basically means the book of cooking. So clearly the book is free from the book of cooking includes a recipe that seems similar to lasagna, which is accurate considering the recipe is simply called on or for lasagna. Okay, let's see what goes into making this ancient recipe. Okay, it involves cutting sheets of pasta and cooking them in boiled water, putting on grated cheese, and repeating the process until it fills a bowl. Okay, this is really just lasagna. I don't know what I was expected. Oh, so you expect me? You think I can read this? You think I can actually read this? This is Latin. Your girl doesn't speak Latin. This concoction is often considered the first step towards our beloved tube noodles and milk curd amalgamation. Oh, you thought we were done? Yeah, no. History is never that simple. Less than a century later, a form of curry was written in England by King Richard II's master cooks and presented to Queen Elizabeth. The form of curry contains a recipe called macaroni, a dish of noodles and cheese, quote-unquote, that is basically the same recipe from Liber de Cucina, and might even be inspired by it. Really, the only difference is that macarons involve adding butter. It also gives me a slightly better chance of reading it. A slightly better chance. I tried translating it myself. I am never doing that again. Now after this, it seems that we have to jump forward a few centuries to 1769. That's when English housekeeper Elizabeth Raffald published The Experienced Housekeeper for the use and ease of ladies, housekeepers, cooks, etc. Oh my god! Oh my god, this recipe! Oh my god, it actually sounds familiar, it's a miracle! You take 4 ounces of macaroni and put them in boiled water, drain them, put them in a skillet, then you basically make white sauce, pour that in, boil it all, then you pour it on a plate and top it all up with Parmesan sauce. Then you put it on a water plate, which is apparently a hot dish put on a water bowl so that you can keep it warm. I don't know, that actually sounds like a good idea. I might actually try it. Now that sounds like mac and cheese! Except for the fact that macaroni at the time might have not been referring to tubes of pasta, it might have been referring to something else entirely, but still, mac and cheese! Now, from there we can make some logical assumptions. Our last cookbook was in England, and we're talking about an American staple. Not too hard to see how that happened. Simple. We had to wait until an American politician found it in France. This is why historians drive themselves to insanity, people. Now, it's unlikely that Thomas Jefferson was the first to actually bring macaroni and cheese over to the States, but he is the one who popularized the dish. Jefferson and his chef, James Hemmings, encountered macaroni in France and both fell in love with it. It seems like Jefferson's obsession spread to the rest of his family, as in 1824 his distant relative, Mary Randolph, published The Virginia Housewife. The cookbook contains recipes simply named macaroni, which tells you to boil enough macaroni to fill a bowl in milk and water, drain it, salt it, layer it in a dish, add cheese and butter, and then bake it. And voila, macaroni and cheese. And this seems to be our missing link between an Italian lasagna from the 1200s and the modern day. So what happened next? Well, mac and cheese became a really cheap dish to make. While the Jefferson family is responsible for the popularization of mac and cheese in the US, James Lewis Kraft, yes, that Kraft, is responsible for keeping it popular. He learned how to pasteurize cheese, allowing it to last longer without spoiling. And while Kraft wasn't the first person to make processed cheese, it finally got us in America, and I'd like to stay here, please. He patented this process in 1916, right in time to send immortal cheese to the brave soldiers fighting during World War I. Because that was going on. Though it wasn't the last time they profited off of a war. Right on time for World War II, the young company named Kraft Foods Incorporated created Kraft Dinner, or Kraft Macaroni and Cheese, using their patented cheese and dried noodles, and soldiers and families everywhere in America devoured it. Not like they had much of a choice during World War II end of Great Depression America, but hey, it was food. So, yeah, Kraft is partially responsible for America's addiction to mac and cheese, especially their own. Thanks, Kraft. For such a popular brand, I'm sure it tastes amazing. Hey, Mom.
What? Why is this in my house?
Because I need to do it for the documentary.
Your ancestors right now are rolling in their graves because you let this in my... And you got family size? Seriously, you paid like the extra 12 cents? Who's gonna eat this?
I mean, if you wanted to help me.
I gotta help you throw it out. Are you actually gonna make this?
Yeah.
In my kitchen? Like, for Trey, you're like, for real, you're gonna let her make this?
I'm not involved in this at all.
This is from that bankroll side. My side of the family wouldn't do this. You know what, dear Grandma, Grandma Jack, all of them right now, each one right now is putting a curse on you. You know those people are from Louisiana, there's a curse on your head right now. Right now. So, I don't know, you can feed this to one of your little friends.
Which one of my friends do you think?
Which one of your friends deserves it?
Which one of your friends do I hate the most? Let me ponder. I'll give you a list later.
Love you, Mom.
Yeah, I love you, I suppose.
It's time. You know, contrary to what I've been saying and suggesting, this isn't actually my first time trying this. Well, mac and cheese at least. Because I've had it at like 1 a.m. when I'm just trying to get essays done for school. But because of that, I don't remember what it tastes like. It was just kind of energy to keep me going. So, let's try this. Okay. That's what it tastes like. So I'm not going to say anything too negative, but I will say that this is to mac and cheese what McDonald's is to burgers. And you can think of that what you will. You know what? I'm gonna get a second opinion. Hey, Dad. Yep. Yes.
Nope.
Yes. Come on. Yeah, come on.
It's not bad. It's certainly not good. Yeah, I prefer your mom's.
Yeah.
There you go.
Thank you, Dad.
Yours.
Thank you. Love you.
I'm not so sure that you do. I need something to wash the tooth out.
Okay, bye. So now we know how mac and cheese came to be. We even know how people managed to profit off of it. But that still doesn't answer the question, why, going into the 2020s, are we as Americans still obsessed with mac and cheese?
I guess I really haven't truthfully thought about why now more than ever, macaroni and cheese seems to be a thing? Is it just that people are finally realizing that it is really good, you know? But it's kind of like become, you know, I don't know, like cauliflower is a big deal now, you know, like what's that about? So
I don't know and I don't want to know. I still hate it. I still hate cauliflower so much. So, how much of a fan are you personally of mac and cheese?
So I really like macaroni and cheese, but it's something, and I do make it myself, and I do it from scratch. I don't think I have like the world's best macaroni and cheese, but I think I have a respectable macaroni and cheese. So. But I like it. It's not something, and it's for me. It's like I think of it as like comfort food, and really more of like a treat kind of thing, you know. And it's probably something I discovered probably later in life than some people. Because growing up, it wasn't something I had. So,
Okay.
Yeah. I think growing up, like not having had, my mom started to make real macaroni and cheese, like not some like Kraft macaroni and cheese from a box situation. Sort of later, like I think probably more like when I was a teenager, young adult kind of thing. It just wasn't a family thing for us, you know. Like if there was pasta involved, it was my mom's side, which was Sicilian, and so that was like pasta with like, you know, red sauce, you know, like marinara, or my grandmother's meat sauce, you know, that was anything with pasta, you know. And so macaroni and cheese kind of was like this random craft thing when probably mom was in a rush, but then she started making real macaroni and cheese, and that's I think when we all started to actually like it.
So, excluding the origins of the Stockamary, do you have a like weird or interesting stories that revolve around mac and cheese, like some really strange dish or some hilarious disaster?
I think truthfully, I think the worst was the advent of all this. That was by far the worst. Nothing too, like, it's all been pretty tame, I guess, for me in the macaroni and cheese world, you know. And yeah, I can't think of any like too kind of off the wall story. I mean, certainly kind of like, you know, seeing some versions of macaroni and cheese, because I'm always looking for recipes, like I always want to improve the recipe that I use and that kind of thing. So I'll find stuff online where I'm like, oh God, what are they doing? You know, like what are they thinking? And it's just some like wacky ingredient that you don't want anywhere in macaroni and cheese probably. So, but I have to say, I don't have anything super unusual in that realm. So.
Have you seen the video where they add Brussels sprouts to the mac and cheese?
Yes, it's the one I think it is. Yeah, and that's where it's like, and it's just so funny because for me it's like, so what's the line? You know, like because you could have macaroni and cheese and you could have Brussels sprouts on the same plate. That's not necessarily bad, but like, why are they like this? You know, and then it's like then it becomes its own creature. I think.
Yeah, like why is it in the same dish? Why are you claiming it's mac and cheese?
Like what is that? I don't know if it is anymore. That's like casserole world, you know. So
yeah, because I can entirely like give the best opinion. I am from a literal culture of mac and cheese purists.
Right, exactly.
So,
yep.
So it's hard for me to like comment and say anything.
Right, and that's just it. I think like you know. It's like macaroni and cheese is so, it's just one of those, I don't know, it's like, it's an iconic dish at this point, you know? And it's where the variations on macaroni and cheese will vary family to family, right? You know? And so that's why it's so interesting. It's the same thing with your grandmother's meat sauce when you're Italian, you know? So.
Greg's perspective about mac and cheese is interesting, coming from a home where it wasn't even part of his culture, much less a big deal. So what about someone who did see mac and cheese as a big deal growing up? Not only that, but someone who's made it a big part of their lives. Huh? What do you mean more than one interviewee fits that category? 4 of them? Okay, how about the one who actively was raised on mac and cheese? And that only brings it down to 3? Okay, how about the first of 3 I interviewed then, okay? Okay.
So, Derek, thank you for doing this.
No problem.
So I've read your mac and cheese before. I believe that you're a caterer?
Yes.
Yeah, so how long have you been in the business?
I've been catering since 2015, so 4 years at this point.
All right. And so how long have you like had a passion for just cooking in general?
I was chunky growing up, so I had a passion for eating. So I stayed in the kitchen, and I would always watch my mother help her cook. And then, as I got out on my own, I like cooking, but I was more outside on the grill. But then my mother started telling me, you know how to cook indoors. You can cook indoors too. So I got back into the kitchen, and it's just like I really believe on Soul Food Sundays. So every Sunday I have something in my mind or something that I'm cooking for dinner. Now that I'm catering, I don't cook macaroni and cheese as much for myself because I normally have some left over from the catering or from doing selling dinners on Fridays. But it's like a staple to me now. It's like it's consistent. If I don't have it, it's like that week wasn't complete. Like it wasn't right. So I think my passion now is more because out of necessity. I'm on disability. I can't work, so I have more time to actually cook in. Well, not whereas working before, when you work, you don't have a lot of time, or you tired, you don't want to do it.
Yeah.
Now I have time, so I'm in the kitchen all the time, tinkering with things, playing with different things, trying to perfect it. So as my catering business grows, the need or want for the macaroni and cheese or whatever else I'm selling grows too.
Nice. So is mac and cheese like the most the most popular thing, or?
I mean, people love the meat that I grill, but the macaroni and cheese is number two. It's closing. Some people will order only mac and cheese, and even for catering orders, I've had people say, "Oh no, I'm gonna barbecue this or I'm gonna make this dish, but I need your mac and cheese to make it good." So
nice.
I sell just pans of macaroni and cheese sometimes, full pans or half pans.
So it seems like you're a certified mac and cheese maker here in the
I
area.
think I'm good at what I do. Yes, and I have a friend who she's pretty good too. I've just picked up on things that I wasn't doing that she does do because I have my mother's recipe and I still think my mother's is the best in the world. I think most people think that anyway.
Yeah.
So she thinks hers is the best in the world. I think my mother's. So I kind of incorporate from both of those to make what I think is the best macaroni and cheese.
Okay, so it's like families coming together.
Right.
Nice. That's like really nice. Like.
It is, and that's why I said I think macaroni and cheese is the perfect comfort food because no matter what, it brings people together. No matter what, whether it's family, across races, across cultures, I think the love of macaroni and cheese actually kind of it eases some tensions because it's good, especially when it's good. I should say. Normally, the mac and cheese is left to the person who knows what they're doing in the family.
Yeah, true.
The potato salad. Yeah, it's been a lot of instances of somebody making potato salad and everybody's like, who made the potato salad?
Yeah.
And it's like, why? And you're like, no. And it's just led to big arguments over the table, but not the mac and cheese. They leave that to the experts.
Yeah.
If you don't know how to make it, you're not even asked to try and make it. And nobody ever volunteers to make it because it is kind of labor intensive. You have to, you're going to have to set aside some time to boil the noodles, cut up the cheese, and so a lot of people, they happy that they don't know how to make it. So they're like, good, because I don't have 2.5 hours to spend or whatever amount of time it takes me.
Yeah. So are you that person?
Me, I just, because of the catering, I guess I'm used to it now. But if it was like regular, yeah, I would have to tell myself, like maybe on a Tuesday, like, okay, if I'm on mac and cheese this weekend, you got to sit down, you got to cut this cheese, and I would have to dedicate the time. Whereas now it's almost simple to me. If I'm selling dinners on Fridays, I know Thursday, during the day, late afternoon, start cutting up cheese, start boiling the water for the macaroni and cheese. So I normally make it and put it together Thursday evening, let it sit, which I think to me helps the cheese and everything incorporate the flavor. And then that morning I get up about 6, 7 in the morning and put it in the oven.
Okay.
So yeah.
So if you're comfortable, are you willing to like saying some of the things that go into it, or?
I mean, I won't name all of the cheeses.
Mm-hmm.
Growing up, it was American cheese. This tells how old I am. Government cheese.
Okay.
Oh,
I'm
my
gonna
goodness.
need to Google that. I'm gonna need to Google that, to be honest.
All right, either Google government cheese or welfare cheese.
Okay.
It'll come up with the same big long blocks of cheese. Now I use American cheese still. I use sharp cheddar, extra sharp cheddar, and Velveeta. Those are the 4 that I'll name.
Okay.
The others that I use, I won't name them.
All right.
And I think everybody standard uses, they know you have to have. Some people are particular about even the macaroni that they use. And I wasn't really. I would buy Topps macaroni, Mueller I think was one name, but now I'm kind of privy to Barilla.
Okay.
Elbows. Get those. Butter, milk, eggs, and like I said, when I have those 4 cheeses plus the other cheeses, it's almost like it's all habit now. I mean, I know exactly what I need to do, how much of this. Some people use certain seasonings. I've seen people put hot sauce. I'm not a fan of that. I've seen people put blue cheese, which blows my mind, but to each his own. If you're making a traditional mac and cheese, it's certain cheeses. I think the staples are American cheese and mostly cheddar. I would say are the most popular. I know some people they don't like people that use Velveeta. I kind of grew up that way, so I will put Velveeta, not as much as what I'm used to seeing growing up, but to me, the cheesier the better.
Mm-hmm.
That's just my opinion.
You kind of went into this earlier, but why do you think that mac and cheese is just kind of... Well, actually, let's start with why you think it's so important in Black culture. Because again, if you get it wrong, you're kicked out. So why?
Right. I think in our culture it's important because, like I said, it used to be a special occasion type of dish. So for holidays or if somebody was visiting out of town, when you saw that, you normally, to me, it means it almost had the connotation of family. The family is coming over, somebody is coming over. It's a holiday, so the family is going to get together. And I think when you see it being made, just like I'm certain there's other dishes, like I would say even like fish fries. Most people get excited in our community about a fish fry because they know everybody coming over for a fish fry.
Yeah.
And I think macaroni and cheese has been a staple because it was labor intensive, and if you spending all that time, then you definitely want a lot of people to taste it. You want more people to eat it. You're not just making it for your family, you're making it for others in the family as well. So I think it just for us as a community, it just signifies family, it signifies normally something happy or something big happening, whether it's a visit from out of town, somebody coming home, whatever the case may be. So I think I know for me personally, that's what it means. But just being around other families as we was growing up, just the excitement you hear when somebody say, "Oh, she making mac and cheese?
Mm-hmm.
I'm coming back for dinner." So no matter what you're doing that day, you will come back to that house.
Yep.
And that's why I just think for us, it's a community type thing. It's a family gathering. Something that's happening that's making us come together for this meal. So, and I think that's a good thing.
So spraying it out, why do you think it's a major thing for like an American perspective, like American culture? Because it's not originally an American dish. It's
True.
It's English/Italian.
Right. I think probably because again, of course I don't know what other cultures look at it, but I do think it's a heartwarming dish. And now, just looking at other cultures, like if you see it in the movies or you see it in magazines or you see articles about it, it looks like when they put mac and cheese down, it's like everybody is sitting at the table. It's like togetherness. And I just think that aspect is why it's so popular around. It's a comfort food. It does make you feel good. It fills you up. But I do think it has some type of feeling of togetherness. Most families, when it's mac and cheese, no matter what culture, everybody is sitting down and having that mac and cheese. And I just think it has that across America, even though we all don't follow the same recipe, we all don't eat it the same. Like I said earlier, some people have it as the dish, whereas we eat it as a side dish. I just think it means a lot that somebody made mac and cheese, and it makes you want to feel. You think it's a special occasion, and you feel special when you actually get to eat it. So I think that's why across America, that's the one go-to dish if you want to have a gathering. Any culture, you put mac and cheese, everybody is going to say normally, "Yeah, I'm coming over." Yeah, I'll be there.
Yeah. So you view it as kind of a community dish, regardless of which community. And
Right.
not necessarily.
Yes, I definitely think it's something that is a community dish, and like I said, it just brings people together. People want to come to dinner when they know you have a mac and cheese. They want to come over. Some people won't come over if you're not having it.
If you haven't guessed by now, mac and cheese is something of a big deal in Black culture, if you couldn't tell by Derek's words and the complexion of those critics from about 30 minutes ago. To be honest, I wasn't even sure whether or not to mention it, but there's no getting around it. Mac and cheese is a major part of African American culture. We're obsessed with it. As Derek mentioned, if you're good at making mac and cheese, you're the only one making mac and cheese. It's that sacred of a dish. Can you just state your name so that everyone knows who you are?
My name is Gina R. Hundley.
Okay, thanks. And clearly you're into mac and cheese.
Yes, I love mac and cheese.
Okay, so like how long have you been into mac and cheese? Like has it been like since you were a little girl? Like did you have to get a bit older before you appreciated it?
I had to get older. So in my family, my mother always did all the cooking, and your Uncle Bruce's wife, Emma, always did a lot of it. So between the two of them, they did a lot of the holiday cooking. And then as my mom got older and she was living with me, I kind of started doing my own. And your Uncle Nick, Libby's husband, likes to do mac and cheese as well. So we started playing with different recipes, I'd say probably about 18 years ago, 20 years ago. And we just kind of perfected what we like to do. And I'll try different cheeses and different techniques. And I just love it. Now I have a deep appreciation for it.
Okay, so are they the people who taught you how to cook mac and cheese or?
Well, Aunt Emma definitely started teaching me, and Uncle Nick, yeah, definitely. They kind of started, teaching me. Aunt Emma's like, she likes to do one way, and she's like, well, try this, and things like that. Different types of cheeses. She always started with the Velveeta, and that was one of her big things. And she still likes to use it. Where I've backed off of the Velveeta, and I make more of a roux using cheddar and mozzarella and a sharp cheddar as well.
You're of the opinion that like you have to like have multiple cheeses in it to make it good.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. I like a lot of different type of cheeses in it, and then I even add in a sour cream base, which I got from Uncle Nick, and I also use a Philadelphia cream cheese.
Do you have any stories, good or bad, like any good/bad experiences with, I don't know, cooking mac and cheese, eating someone else's mac and cheese that like you just remember?
Well, I have a funny story I can tell you. One Thanksgiving, we were going to your aunt Brenda's house, and I do big slabs. I mean, it's usually at least 20, 25 people with us. It's a lot. And so I had done these big things, and I kind of overestimated how heavy it can be with another recipe I had done, and I dropped it.
Oh no.
Yes. But pretty much, I've most of the stuff I've done, it's been good. Everyone has an appreciation for it. And when I'm traveling and I can't be there for a holiday, like that, nieces and nephews are like, we want your mac and cheese, Aunt Gina. When I dropped it, they were mortified. So, to try to make it down and dirty quickly, I had to do some of it stovetop and then try to hurry up and do it. And we put fresh eggs in ours. I'm going to go upstairs because my dog is barking. So I had to do it down and dirty on the stove, and that did not go over well in the family. So I'm like, okay, forget it. Everyone start eating. I'm going to finish it and put it in the oven.
I mean, you're determined then. You're a determined woman.
Oh, yeah.
Like, we know that, our family, other black families, they can get really competitive when it comes to mac and cheese. You always have those two people who are, like, always trying to be like, oh, mine's the best over this other family members. Why do you think that's a thing in our culture?
Well, I think it's because as a people, we don't have a lot. And my family, your family, we're not rich people. So I think we black women and men take pride in what we can do well because we can cook. Think about it. We had to cook for our masters. And the things that they didn't want, they thought were thrown away, we made beautiful meals with to feed them. And then now it's so weird to me to be in the South and I'm in the grocery store and white women will come up to me and ask me, how do you do your collard greens? or what do you do with this? What do you do with that? So I think part of that just comes from, that was a sense of pride because we didn't have a lot of other things to be prideful of. It wasn't like we could send all of our kids off to college, and our kids weren't doctors and lawyers and Indian chiefs. They were. We had to make do with what we had and take pride in what we could do, and cooking was a big thing.
I told you, mac and cheese is a big deal in the Black community. So much to the point where a lot of us consider ourselves purists when it comes to mac and cheese. In other words, a lot of us don't like putting things other than macaroni and cheese and the essential ingredients into it. Otherwise, it's wrong. It's not allowed to basically exist. And it's not just Black people. A lot of people view mac and cheese that way. But doesn't mean that we're all that way. Some of us like to break tradition in our own kitchens. So, hi Jocelyn.
Hi Maya, how are you?
I'm pretty good, you?
I'm good.
So, mac and cheese.
One of the all-time favorites.
The ultimate comfort food.
Absolutely.
I told Jocelyn about the origin of this documentary, with Greg and the Greek mac and cheese, and asked her opinion on why it caused Greg and Mom to freak out so much. And I found her answer very interesting.
Well, I have several reasons. One, each culture is different. And even though macaroni and cheese itself is a very filling food, everybody puts their own take on it according to their own culture. So maybe olives and feta cheese are part of their staple meals. And so to make it a more filling meal when you're low on food, you use what you have, and most people have olives and feta cheese in that culture, apparently. In the Black community, and in my community, in my house, I make macaroni and cheese several different ways. Interested?
Very interested.
Okay, so I have one macaroni and cheese that is just basic macaroni and cheese. However, I use 7 cheeses, a little bit of buttermilk, heavy cream, and regular milk.
Okay.
And I bring all of my ingredients to a boil before I put the macaroni and cheese in.
Okay.
So that's just basic macaroni and cheese. So I use Mexican cheeses, taco cheeses, sharp cheddar, and white cheddar. And I melt them all down slowly. And then I add I put a little bit of butter, salt, and pepper on the noodles themselves. And then I just stir them together while they're hot so that they can absorb all of that. And then I slowly add in the cheese, and then I bake it. Sometimes I'll crunch up cornflakes and sprinkle it on top and bake it so that there's a nice crispy crunch on top.
Oh, okay.
That's one way I make macaroni and cheese. Another way I make macaroni and cheese, especially in the wintertime and when the kids are sick, is I will dice up chicken breasts. And I will saute and cook chicken breasts and broccoli, and then I'll make my macaroni and cheese with the same 7 cheeses, only I won't put the heavy cream in or the little bit of buttermilk, but I'll put the broccoli and chicken in and bake it and put a layer of cheese on top so that it's more of a meal. And then if I have to work late, that's why I started doing it. I would be working late, and the kids needed something that they could just come in and eat and warm up, and they could just cut it in chunks, and they'd have a meat, a vegetable, and nobody had to cook on the stove. So it was filling, it was delicious, and they loved it. And for some reason, all kids love macaroni and cheese. I have not figured that out yet. I just don't know. Box macaroni and cheese, weird noodle macaroni and cheese. They just love macaroni and cheese. I don't know why.
Well, you have a mac and cheese as the equivalent of chicken soup, is what I'm hearing.
Yes. Very hearty and good.
So what got you into the game of let's just start with cooking in general? Like, was it a necessity thing? Do you just want to do it?
Well, when I was little, it was not an option. Everybody in the house had to cook. We had to take turns cooking, even the boys, because there were 6 children. It wasn't an option. My mother had to work. We had to cook. We had to learn young. And I enjoy cooking. It gives me the ability to experiment with new things, try new recipes, create my own recipes. And then in teaching my girls how to cook, one really took off with the cooking, and the other one kind of looks at me like, yeah, I'm not doing that. I'm going to pay people to do that for me. My thing is I don't know how, I don't use a recipe for macaroni and cheese.
Yeah, some people do, some people don't.
I just throw it in there until it looks right. And I don't know if that makes sense, but it has to look and be a certain texture for me to be like, okay, this is good.
I live with Ursuline, our bankhead. Of course, I know what the vagueness means.
Yeah, just one of those things, I guess.
Like, do you have any like interesting stories revolving around mac and cheese? Like anything you remember or about like something that happened?
About 2 years ago, I was at a funeral and I saw some macaroni and cheese and it said it had bacon in it. And I was like, macaroni and cheese? But it looked amazing and I was like, I gotta try it. When I tell you that was the best macaroni and cheese I ever had in my life, it was awesome. And a guy made it.
Oh.
A guy made it even better. Yes, his name was Marcus. And that macaroni was so cheesy, but it wasn't like, it was baked, but it was like so cheesy that it was like loose and gooey. It was
nice.
When he cooked the bacon separately and crumbled it in there, so the bacon was nice and it was awesome.
Yeah.
So that's the only story that I have about macaroni and cheese. Everything else is just normal Sunday dinner macaroni and cheese, but that was just, it was a different take on macaroni and cheese. I had never seen that before.
Like you have never seen like anything like extra added up to that point?
No. And like as far as mine, when I put the chicken and the broccoli in it, I had never seen that either. I just did it one day because I needed to make something that they could eat without me being there. So
makes sense. It's like one, get yourself a man who knows how to make mac and cheese and knows how to do it well. And two, that's honestly an interesting thing because I know that some people are just absolute mac and cheese purists. Like we see it in our community, we like see it in some other communities. Just in general, there's some people who are like, don't add anything at all. It's macaroni and cheese and a whole stick of butter or something.
True. Yeah, a lot of people feel like that.
Pepper. But yeah, like I know that like some people like argue, oh, it has to be like remain pure, and then others are like, hi, let's just add bacon, let's add broccoli. In one case that was very controversial on Food Network, I think, let's add Brussels sprouts. That did not end well. But
I bet it did not. Brussels sprouts is a special kind of vegetable, and it's very bitter if not prepared correctly. So yeah, I don't know about that in macaroni and cheese.
Yeah, it just caused chaos.
If you couldn't tell, Jocelyn likes to experiment with her dishes, including mac and cheese, and she has fun doing it. However, don't assume that just because she is a home cook means that that's how she gets away with the whole experimental mac and cheese thing, adding extra ingredients. There are restaurants all over Buffalo and the rest of America that serve mac and cheese and put extra things in it. In fact, there's one restaurant that is famous throughout New York for such a thing.
Just so that everybody knows, could you state your name?
My name's Richard DiCristina, and we're at Mooney's on Military Road in Kenmore, New York.
So how long have you been working here?
I've been here 7 years. Okay. They've been open for 9 years. Two of the guys that started it are good friends of mine, known them over 20 years.
Okay, so I know the name of one of them, I believe. Let's just hope
That's fine.
So I've only really seen the name of one of the owners going around. So could you say like what are the actual names of the owners of Mooney's?
Yeah, there's two people that own this one right here. It's Chris McCann, and the other one is Kevin McFall. Kevin McFall owns every single one. There's 7 other locations. Okay. He's got a partner in a few of them. The one here is a partner with Chris McCann, and those two are who started the Mooney's mac and cheese business.
Clearly, you've been in the business of just as a chef for a while.
Yes. I also teach at Erie Community College in the culinary department.
Okay.
That's one of my other part-time gigs during the fall. I've worked there almost 14 years. Graduated from the program. I have a culinary degree from ECC. I have a hospitality and bachelor's degree from Buff State. So I've been in the food business for a while, cooking all over Western New York and downtown Buffalo.
Every single story has a beginning. How did you get into cooking in the first place?
Well, my father owned a bakery. I tell people I was born in a bakery. When I was a young kid, my mom and my father were in the bakery business, so I was brought to a bakery all the time for daycare, So, just working in the business, and then eventually, I don't know, like baking was in my blood, so I kind of started baking. then started cooking and wanted to be well-rounded and all that kind of stuff. That's more about me, but I mean.
How did you end up working here at Mooney's?
Me and Chris McCann, one of the owners, worked together for about 14, 15 years at a country club down in the city, and he had this idea to open up this with Kevin, and I actually told him that it would never work.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So a few years later, I ended up leaving the club, and like I said, having a baby and and then I asked him for a few days a week to work, and he wanted me to work with him and watch the food and take care of all that kind of stuff. So that's how that all came about, and then it's just been working out this way with school, with this part-time gig in school has been really working out well. So and then their whole plan was to have a, how could I say it, a local sports bar with some really great food for a great price. Not trying to kill anybody. They want everybody to come see them 2 or 3 times a week and be able to afford it. It's not a place you can only come once a month. Or they want somebody to come here like 2 or 3 times a month or once or twice a week. We have a loyal crowd that comes here every day after they get out of the factories down on Military or over here off of Sheridan. They come here to get some drinks or beer after work, or meet their friends, or get something to eat real quick, or even these guys end up having like retirement parties here. They know what to expect. So it all came from wanting to just have a nice, comfortable, relaxed restaurant.
So clearly Mooney's is known for its mac and cheese. Yeah, like I was just looking at the menu, and I put them all in a Word document, and it was 1.5 pages of just mac and cheese.
18 different flavors. Yeah, it's grown since I've been here, because then we just started, throwing things together, like ones that weren't on there. Like we started with we'll just say the buffalo mac and cheese, which is grilled chicken, crumbly blue cheese, hot sauce, and our little bechamel cheese sauce recipe. So from that one came the stingers, what we call it, which is like a stinger sub, is a steak and chicken fingers with blue cheese. Okay. So we just transformed that into a mac and cheese. So that's like a hybrid of what we've been doing.
Okay.
And then there's other ones like taco. I mean, it's just there's so many to name.
Yeah, it got really insane.
Yeah, there's a lot.
So why do you think that mac and cheese is like just so popular, just in general?
I don't know, man, because I remember growing up and it was just a side dish, And now this world we're in today, everybody, you got to see the people that come in here just to get mac and cheese. It's amazing. Like, it still shocks me because I always said it would never work. But to see the guys, 2, 3 guys working a macaroni station here, I mean, we do more pasta than most Italian restaurants in Buffalo. It's crazy how much pasta goes through this restaurant. But it's just crazy to see. I mean, I don't know what the kick is. I don't know if people want more of that like goulash-based meal. I'm not sure. Of like all-in-one, like the meal all-in-one. It's not for me. I want courses. That's the kind of guy I come from. I want an appetizer, a salad, a soup course, an entree, a dessert. That's where I come from. The more I work here, these people kind of want everything into one.
Okay.
Like we have done actually for Thanksgiving. We were doing like a turkey dinner, and it had all the fixings inside mac and cheese, and it was just weird in my sense because I'm not used to that. I'd rather have my turkey here and my cranberry sauce and my stuffing, and where this was all together blended in mac and cheese. It was kind of weird, but people liked it. Even coming from my background, I'm Italian, and not that we've had a lot of macaroni and cheese, but if you think about it from my perspective, this is how I take it. Like if you did like a what would you call it? Like a spaghetti parmesan, or that would be like my version, Italian version of mac and cheese. It would be like red or just tomato sauce with mozzarella cheese and some noodles. Putting a casserole dish with some cheese on top, baked in the oven. It's almost similar to any culture that does mac and cheese. You know what I mean? Yeah. But you're right. Like mine. See, then I look at it from. See, I always think about that. I do think about that a lot because in my culture, baked lasagna or baked, ziti, is like a dish that we use. But we also use that for a side dish. But me growing up, I would eat that as my entree. Because I was a little kid. But I don't know. I don't know that this side dish grown into an entree could be the future. I don't know. I mean, it is. It's working. So and that's what people, maybe that's what people want is their side dishes. Maybe their green bean casserole. That's what they want for dinner.
Maybe you just like them that much.
Yeah. So, but
yeah. So you're not entirely sure, like, why it might have just exploded recently.
Not at all. Because I see almost everybody's doing a mac and cheese. All these barbecue places that are opening up are doing mac and cheese. I know a couple seafood places downtown that are doing mac and cheese. Maybe not so much as an entree, but they're serving it on the side. I just don't know. We still can't figure out. Even the owners, we take it as the casserole based entrees, the way we're looking at it.
Yeah.
But so the side dish grew into this casserole that people want to have for their entree. Is what I would say.
So the Very King's mac and cheese and possibly all Western New York, even they're like, what the heck is going on?
Yeah, definitely. There's a lot.
Mac and cheese be crazy, man. So it looks like Mooney's became a big player in the market by mastering the arts of variety and filling people's bellies. But on the other side of town, there's a restaurant focused more on feeding the soul.
So yeah, actually like first can you like share your first cameras and what you've been you?
My name is Al Robinson. I am an entrepreneur, develop. We have a cafe here in Lovejoy.
Use Lovejoy, yeah?
Yep, love Lovejoy.
La Verdad was founded in 2018 by pastors and married couple Al and Vivian Robinson after deciding to transform the building that held a former barber shop that wasn't actually a barber shop.
All of our food is artisan, at an artisan level. I am a pit master, and all I do is just all meats for my wife. And my wife makes everything else, and then, adds to the meat however she feels best. So we have created one mac and cheese based sandwich, actually, and it's called the Stretch Mark. We were featured in the Gusto with the Stretch Mark, and the Stretch Mark is beef brisket. It's mac and cheese and then apple kale slaw on top of that. Why do we have mac and cheese on there? We have mac and cheese on there because mac and cheese is the ultimate comfort food. It just simply makes you feel about eating very, very good and comfortable. So our mac and cheese requires, my wife is super picky when it comes to her food. She checks everything, leaving the kitchen, and she wants to make sure that every batch of something is meeting a certain standard of excellence. So our mac and cheese has to meet 3 criteria. Okay, the very first thing, it has to present well and smell well. Yep. You want to have that smell in your olfactory glands, just like popping. Like I need that, right? It's got to be the right color. It's got to be the right consistency. It can't be, all stretchy. It has to be real creamy. It has to be, but firm. You know what I mean? It has to meet that criteria. So that's number one. Number two is how it chews and its flavor profile. Flavor profile is super important because that's where the comfort comes in. Does it chew well? Is it too tough? Is it not creamy enough? And what about its flavor profile? A lot of people put a lot of salt in there thinking that salt is flavor. Salt is not flavor. Salt is salt, you know what I mean? Salt is not flavor. So she has this potpourri of flavors and like Vivian stuff that she sticks in there that brings out that deliciousness, especially with a jalapeno mac and cheese. It just brings out that heat, it brings out that deliciousness, and then that's the second criteria. The third criteria is after you chew, you swallow the food. This is the most important part. When you sit back like this and you say, "Ooh wee! Oh my goodness, that's good. I have to have more." At which time then most people consume all of it. They don't really take any home. And the mighty Stretch Mark sandwich is a hit because of that mac and cheese on top of that smoked beef brisket. And they just simply can't. They fail at battle on that one all the time.
So you make sure that they are doing it full.
My wife and I, we are pastors. And when we first bought our first property, and we sold our properties, and we felt that the Lord wanted us to do Bible study and things of the like. And so we purchased a campus here in Lovejoy, the old Trinity UCC campus. And so we bought that campus, and we're going to have all these great ideas to make a restaurant out of it. And before we bought the building, the Lord says, "No, I want you to be a pastor of the church." And I'm like, "What do you mean? I study quantum field theory, particle physics. I mean, and needless to say, the Lord called me for Jesus Christ, and I answered, and I went. Now, we've been here for 10 years, but we have a professional grade kitchen at the church. She has been doing fantastic work out of that kitchen for the entire community for the last 10 years. And last year, my wife, she still wants this restaurant. I know the owner of the building. After the drug bust went down, I met with him and I said, "Listen, my wife has always wanted a restaurant. I know it's a barber shop. It was a barber shop. I know it's a barber shop, but could you please consider letting us have it for a restaurant?" And then I came home that day and I said, "Vivian, you have to come with me. We're going for a ride." I take her to the real estate office and we sign for this building. And I said, "You're about to be a restaurant owner." That's exactly how it happened. So the Lord let her passion come true. And this is something that we love to, as you can see on the walls, we love to show the glory of God in what we make. Some Christians are corny. They say I'm a Christian and then they don't act like one.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That their actions are contradictory to what their mouth is saying. And so we wanted to show people, like my wife says, show them better than we can tell them, as you are about to witness when she comes out here and brings you this food. And honestly, that's how we got into this. And now we find that we're praying with people, we're helping people, we're leading people to the cross, we're showing them the glory of God, which is a big deal to us. We're in a dark world.
Yeah.
You know it. Extremely dark. And you being on this side of the entertainment, I know you probably see it a lot more than I do.
It's cutthroat, so you have to record it.
Cutthroat is the best possible way to put it too, because we're growing up in a society right now where we are being led to be selfish and self-centered. And so the way I feel subjectivity, is what's being preached, as opposed to what you're doing, which is objectivity. You're showing people, hey, this is that dude in real life, this is what he's saying, and this is why they're doing it. So that's why, as a restaurateur, we know this. And so we use it to bring light into people's lives. When you first taste this, you'll see. I know you probably had all kinds of mac and cheese with Parmesan, crust on it and all types of stuff. But this is some down home, in the dirt, growing up, real deal, old mama, Arkansas kind of, in West Virginia, synthesis of our parents that went before us. You know what I mean? And my wife is a black woman in Lovejoy, succeeding.
It seems like this is basically your way of showing God's gift and God's basically what God has of us through cooking,
Yes.
through action.
Yes. Showing the glory of God in the way. When a person bites on one of our smoked ribs, we don't barbecue our ribs over open flames. We smoke them for 7.5 hours. So when a person bites into that, and I look at their face, and I see hearts floating out of them in all directions in a cloud, I know I did what I was supposed to do. They know they went to a Christian place and got some Christian food. You know what I mean? And they know that they've eaten that kind of deliciousness. So yes, we feel that we're showing the glory of God with our food.
That's really great.
That is good. That is really good for us.
Love that.
You gonna take over?
Yeah. And I'm gonna bring her the macaroni cheese.
Okay.
That's what she came here for.
You are about to bear witness. You'll see.
And
So
you guys.
I'll Vivian, we're gonna swap out. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Hi again, Vivian Robinson.
Hi. Great.
Okay, what's going on?
Well, your husband was just complimenting you.
I understand you wanted to ask questions about the macaroni and cheese as well, right? So I brought you 3 pounds out because I didn't want to hold up the kitchen with her. So what you have now is this is a jalapeno Gouda macaroni and cheese. So this one is jalapeno, this is Gouda, and that is our brisket with my special sauce and green peppers and onions. So I wanted you to try and give your honest opinion. Let me know what you think.
All right.
You ready?
Mm-hmm.
Look at the thing.
Yeah, I'm just like I'm excited. It's just like again, like I've heard like a lot. Like
Okay.
it's recommended this place by 2 different people.
Okay. Okay. Awesome.
I literally spent 10 minutes critiquing these mac and cheeses, so here's the summary.
So how did you end up like coming up with like these different dishes? Like is this like a family recipe?
Nope, it's no family recipe. It's like normally, I didn't want to have just regular macaroni and cheese because you can get regular macaroni and cheese anywhere. So I said I wanted to put a twist on the macaroni and cheese, and so I said I wanted to try Gouda. It's like a smoked Gouda. So I used the smoked Goudas, and I got like 4 different blends of cheeses in there. And then I did that one, and then I add the Gouda with the jalapeno. So I just didn't want to have a whole lot of different macaroni and cheese. And I also wanted to do something. We have a rice bowl here. So I said, let's make a macaroni and cheese bowl. So Kim is in there. She helped me create different things as well. So I have to give credit to her too when it comes to when we run out of rice, we create something with whatever we have.
So again, like I said, your husband like told the origin, but I'm kind of curious about like what it was like from your point of view, like how this came to be.
Well, my husband and I, basically, we owned a house on Lovejoy. I mean, out on Porter Avenue. And one day, you know, because I cater and do different events, and I said, you know what? Maybe we should open up a restaurant. I had a dream about opening up a church restaurant, and then kill 2 birds with 1 stone, have a church restaurant and have a banquet hall. So the only way that's going to work for me is if I get a church, because we are the church. So I would take the cathedral part of the church, and then I will make it into a restaurant. But it didn't turn out like that. My husband, after we found the building, he said that he was calling to ministry. So then that restaurant turned into a church, a ministry. So we did that. You know, we've been continually doing that since 2010. And then last year, in 2018, he said he located this building to open up a restaurant. I said, honey, you have to plan things. You know, you got to go through all these things to open up. You just can't just go open up a restaurant, you know. And so within 9 months, we opened up.
So how did you get into cooking?
I've been cooking since I was younger. You know, my grandmother and my mom is from the South, and I was raised on, you know, basically cooking. And when my grandmother was sitting in the kitchen, you know, I would be sitting in the kitchen. My grandmother is making homemade biscuits and making different foods, and I would just be in the kitchen just watching and tasting. And the same thing with my mom. And so what I did was anything that they created, I wanted to put a new twist on. Everybody wanted macaroni and cheese. I don't want just macaroni and cheese. I wanted to put a twist on my macaroni and cheese. You can go have the regular cheddar mac and cheese and add all that. I wanted my macaroni and cheese to just have a different feel so people can remember that, like you said, I don't like jalapeno. You're gonna say, no, I like it in the macaroni and cheese. Brisket and onions and green peppers in the macaroni and cheese. No, I don't think I would like that. But now when you try it, it's your favorite. People have been conditioned to just have plain macaroni and cheese. You grow up on regular, our grandmother, our ancestors, they made macaroni and cheese. And sometimes, you know, even with me now, I make a roux to even make it more creamier. So you put flour in there, you stir it up, you add the cheese, and make it a creamier with the roux. Our family and our ancestors, you know, they do the same thing. They get the cheese, they put it in the oven, they put the egg, they put the flour, they do all of this, and then they put it in the oven. So macaroni and cheese is a thing for even children. So if children, if they don't eat anything else, they're going to eat some macaroni and cheese. So now we have been conditioned to say, well, we need macaroni and cheese. So
It's really interesting way to look at it. So it's like we are, conditioned, or at least certain cultures, are conditioned to want it plain.
right, like a box. They want to open up a box of macaroni and cheese, boil it. Now they got macaroni and cheese, put it in the microwave. But I can't see serving that. I need to make macaroni and cheese from scratch and serve it to my customers so they can know the difference, because their taste matters to me. That's why I say your taste matters. So that's why I wanted, you to have the different options of our macaroni and cheese to let you know what you think about it.
Okay. The last couple interviews have mentioned the value and variety in mac and cheese, but don't go thinking that means that simpler ingredients equals an inferior dish. No. Both have their value, and they are both so good when done right. Simplicity can be key. So, would you like to state your name so everyone knows who you are?
Sure, my name is Mary Rivera.
Sorry. So I like to sort of going into this what got you into what you're doing now.
Cooking in general.
Yep.
It's easy. I lived several lives before I became a chef. And I was a banker. And then I was in television. And all those jobs were lovely and wonderful, but I was always so bored. And I never felt any passion towards anything. So it took till I was in my 30s to discover how much I was enjoyed cooking for friends and family, and I just love it. I would want to be doing it constantly. I was raised, I was the youngest, and my next oldest was my brother, who was 8 years older than me. My dad passed away when I was just before I turned 4 years old. It was my mother, my brother, and I. I was so much younger than him, and it was funny because my mother, now we're talking about the 70s, and my mother cooked extremely basic stuff for us. It was good, it was fun. It was fun, perfectly fun. But what she was amazing at was baking. She was a wonderful, wonderful baker. Everything was from scratch. Everything, she was so meticulous about it. And you think almost like she treated her baking like she was a professional, but not just, it just always tasted that way. She never took shortcuts. Like I said, everything was these wonderful, fresh ingredients. For instance, she used to make homemade peanuts, peanut clusters, coconut clusters, and yummy milk chocolate with candy. And I always felt like, my brothers and sisters had more in common with my mother because she was very introverted and more extroverted. But what she instilled in me was that what you're going to eat something is care about it. American background. Make it amazing. Now for her, that was baked goods. So it was always the best brownies, the best pies, the best everything. And she would cooking she didn't care about. But I did. So I translated her joy of baking to all of my cooking.
What are your opinions on just mac and cheese? Like did you get raised at a certain kind of mac and cheese?
So, it's funny because I'm trying to think about how she made mac and cheese. I think it's still the same recipe. I'm not 100% sure. But I will say that I've been making mac and cheese for my today, and I'll be making it for my granddaughter tomorrow. Since before I went up and became a chef. It's the simplest, most basic recipe. But it's delicious. And I have a fancy mac and cheese recipe, which is wonderful. It has a couple more cheeses in it, breadcrumbs, and it's delicious. But for just pure ease, peace of mind, easy dinner, comfort food that everybody likes. This mac and cheese that I make, I've been making now for over 20-some years, is just, it's incredible. I think it's less, my philosophy in general is that less is just use a few simple ingredients, and then you don't have to add other stuff to try and save a dish.
So in this documentary so far, we've come across quite a few different characters. Home cooks, hobbyists, restaurant owners, caterers, etc. So what could we be missing? The documentary should be wrapping up now, right? Well, not quite. There is one more interview left. It involves a kind of person I think everyone's forgotten about, except for the person, of course, I'm talking about. Because, see, in between all the talk about cooking mac and cheese, I think we've forgotten a very important detail. You make stuff so that people can eat it. Yeah, this is my hint. I found someone who professionally eats stuff. Okay. Hello.
Hi.
Hi. Can you say your name just so that people know who you are?
I'm Andrew Galarno. I'm the food editor at the Buffalo News.
All right, and thank you for doing this.
My pleasure. Macaroni and cheese is one of my favorite things in the world.
Now, you're a food editor. How did you get into that line of work?
I started writing for newspapers for a living. I was a news reporter for 20 years, but I did as much food writing as I could because I like to cook, I like to eat, and it's a lot more fun to write about than people who are killing each other and politics and sewer taxes and things like that. So whenever I got a chance, I wrote about food. And then when the food editor at the Buffalo News decided to retire, I was in the right place at the right time. And plus, I had been inviting everybody in the newsroom to my house for spare ribs and Thai chicken skewers for my Labor Day picnic for 5 years. It was a plot.
So it just kind of started from that and then spread out.
Yes, I mean, as an avid cook, I've been reading cookbooks and blogs and cooking and trying to take what I found in restaurants and other places that were amazing and recreating it because you get hungry.
Mm-hmm. Now, do you cook for yourself, or are you mainly a taste tester, or is that just a?
I cook sometimes. I eat out a lot for my job, but I cook for my family or my kids from time to time.
Is one of those dishes mac and cheese?
I have several different mac and cheeses that I can tailor to different occasions.
Oh.
So if you're in a hurry, there's the stovetop mac and cheese, one skillet, 4 ingredients that you can put together in about 20 minutes, and it is the gooeyest. I mean, it's on the gooey end of things, like drippy, soppy, Velveeta level cheesiness. Elbow macaroni usually, you can do it in one pan, 4 ingredients, 20 minutes. I learned that from Serious Eats. Then there's baked macaroni and cheese. That's the big occasion macaroni and cheese because it's more trouble. You have to make the white sauce, you have to blend the cheese in, you have to decide which cheeses. You have to consider your audience. You know, do you like people who like spicy things? If I have people who like spicy things, I make for parties vats of macaroni and cheese, baked macaroni and cheese, flavored with chipotle peppers. Puree those and get those into the cheese mix. But you have to know your audience. It has to be people who are like, I like it spicy, I like it hot.
Okay.
So the short answer is yes.
So getting to know your audience, huh?
Well, right. I mean, the whole point of cooking, if you're going to bother to cook, if you're going to bother to do something, not just rip the top off of a Kraft box, dump it in there, and add the cheese mix, which, no lie, I have done a million times. I mean, I'm the food editor, but I have fed my kids so much box mac and cheese when they were young because it was like the default. You can add hot dogs, you can sneak in a bunch of vegetables. It's still mac and cheese, but yeah, it's got broccoli and peas and corn in it, but it's dinner, so eat it. So you get kids to eat their vegetables, the subterfuge of macaroni and cheese. It's like an endless fabric that you can paint your culinary desires on. You can also go upscale, right? If you had really good feta, like goat's milk or sheep's milk feta, and some roasted lamb, maybe a few olives, some artichoke hearts, you could put together a macaroni and cheese that would be not out of place at the center of the plate in a fine dining restaurant.
That's a very interesting perspective on it. Just these different combinations, like the mac and cheese is the base for your own culinary interests.
I think anyone who wants to be a purist about macaroni and cheese is certainly entitled to do so, and they are reflecting their own, image of macaroni and cheese. They're hearkening back to a time in their life when they had this thing and it was wonderful and it was pure, and they want to recreate that moment. And I'm 100% behind that. Like, do the thing that makes you happy, and if it makes you happy to make it exactly the way your mom made it, or maybe. I think probably for more people though, it was when you made mac and cheese your own. It's when you took your mom's recipe and added that one thing that you thought, like, this is what it needs. And then that's how you make it for the rest of your life. At some point, somebody made pure macaroni and cheese that didn't have any cayenne pepper in it. And somebody else was like, you know what, that could really use just a little pinch of something, just give it a little nice. And that became their pure macaroni and cheese with a little bit of nice, right? Everybody wants to make it theirs. Everybody wants to own it, right? Part of the satisfaction of a recipe is the story. That's where it comes from. Where did this come from? Did you create it? Was it a thing that you created and you can remember the kitchen when you were poor, but like you made yourself happy because there was this macaroni and cheese that had never yet been seen on the planet, and you brought it into this world and you created this, and it is yours forever, right? That's beautiful. Also beautiful is, I remember the time, our aunt came over after my mom died, and she made us macaroni and cheese because we wouldn't eat anything because we were too sick, and we ate the macaroni and cheese, and that's it. And that's, for the rest of my life, that's going to be comfort, like real comfort food, right? Funeral casseroles. Right? Okay. Someone dies, people bring over food.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
Yeah, true.
I mean, so I think if you have the story behind it and it is the macaroni and cheese of your heart, all macaroni and cheese is pure in its own way. If you have the origin story and it's being told by the creator. Even if you're, these days, even if you're gluten intolerant, you can get different pasta. Everybody can get in on it. There's vegan mac and cheese. I mean, go talk to the people at Root and Bloom on Elmwood Avenue about how much cultured cashew cream and nutritional yeast base macaroni and cheese they sell at $17 a plate. Yeah. So it's because everybody can relate to it, and everybody can have their favorites, and that means you grow up with it. You grew up with a macaroni and cheese.
Yeah.
Did your mom make it?
Oh yes.
Okay.
She is a designated family member to make it.
And does she have feelings about what belongs and does not belong in macaroni and cheese?
Oh, definitely.
Okay. Well, there you go.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's got a macaroni and cheese.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's why it's so relatable.
And with that, our little adventure comes to an end. So, what are we supposed to take from this? What have we gotten out of this? Well, we've learned all the different opinions on how much is too much or too little when going into mac and cheese. We've learned that a single recipe can be passed down through generations. And we've learned that people can be really divided on what makes a good mac and cheese. So what else is there? Is that it? Was this just an hour of me rambling about a good side dish / full dish? Okay, kind of, but also, I'm afraid I've been hiding something from all of you. There was one single thing that happened in each and every interview I did. A single request that I made of all of my interviewees. I asked them all to summarize mac and cheese in one sentence.
I would say, especially for macaroni and cheese, like real macaroni and cheese that you make yourself or that you make at home, like the legit thing, Like, so much of, I think, home cooking is, it sounds corny, but I think it is an expression of love.
I would say it's one of the best foods to bring people together.
Macaroni and cheese. Filling to the belly and the soul.
Macaroni and cheese happens to be a warm and fuzzy feeling of comfort, joy, happiness, and relaxation.
It's hard for one word or one sentence because you're just looking for fine quality ingredients, prepared simply and should always be cheesy and good. I mean, that's the way I see it.
Make it work for your palate. Just make it work for your palate.
Oh, good macaroni and cheese. The smiles on everyone's faces will always be an American favorite, no matter where you're from.
Pasta plus cheese equals happiness.
I think all of that is what we take out of all this. People have different reasons for loving mac and cheese and have lived different lives and have different experiences that have caused them to love different kinds of mac and cheese. So maybe all of America can just call a truce and stop freaking out when people say that they love certain things in mac and cheese or hate other things in mac and cheese, and just accept that this is this all-encompassing dish that all America loves. The all-American comfort food that happened to originate across the ocean. Who knows? Maybe there even is a really good Greek mac and cheese and Brussels sprout mac and cheese. I mean, anything's possible with some anything's possible with some bits of grain and dairy products, right? But anyway, as for me, I think I'm a bit hungry. So yeah, this began the interview, so thank you.
No problem. And to all others, I'm sure your macaroni and cheese tastes good, but I'm willing to put my mac and cheese against anybody else in this interview. Just throwing it out there. She didn't solicit that. This is me. I'm doing this on my own volition. Anybody.
Like
Buffalo, Cheektowaga, Depew, Orchard Park, Boston, Hamburg, Canada, across the United States, anybody. I have the best mac and cheese.
I have a South Carolinian aunt who might drive down here just to test you.
Hey.
I have a friggin'
I respect Auntie from the South because my family's from North Carolina, in Alabama, and in Birmingham. So I have Southern roots, and that's probably why it tastes so good. But I'm still willing to put it up against Auntie.
Oh my god.